When you start working on your circadian alignment, really the number one thing that you need to focus on is the rising sunlight into your naked eye outside. That's the first and most important principle. But there's also these secondary timers, Zeitgebers, that help to reinforce the circadian rhythm. And it's things like when you work out, when you start and stop socializing for the day, temperature, and then also when and what you eat. So in the morning, you really want to eat your first meal within that first hour of sunrise. And for optimal signaling, it needs to be high quality animal protein. Something that's been interesting for me as I've been working with these principles over the last year is that you also layer in seasonality with this and you get even better results. So as the summer has wound down now, our chickens have kind of stopped laying, and they will stop laying for the next probably 4 months, which means our breakfasts are going to pivot much more towards just meat. So how do you do that and make it livable? You get used to having leftovers for breakfast, and it's actually pretty great. This morning, I'm warming up some duck breasts that are absolutely divine with some leftover vegetables from last night. I'll add some cottage cheese to this, or maybe yogurt, and that's my breakfast. I find that, sure, you could work on this by yourself. You could get up and do the sunlight. You could do all those Zeitgebers and try to unravel modern conditioning and figure out your way to a more circadian and seasonally aligned lifestyle. But what happens is as you do that, you end up having so many questions. What does local and seasonal actually really mean? When should I implement the Zeitgebers, and how does that work for me in my situation with my job or where I live on the globe? What kind of biohacking gear do I need to actually make this work for me, especially if I live really far north? These are the types of things that I've had to figure out a lot on my own, but also I've had some wonderful mentorship. And as I've gone through that process, I've realized that there's a way to make this much easier. So I've created a step-by-step process that in a new mentorship that I'm hosting and that we're starting in just a couple weeks, we're going to be walking through the steps over 7 weeks to implement a fully aligned circadian routine for you for moving into the darker, colder seasons of the year. This mentorship includes courses as well as daily mentorship for myself. And if this feels like something that is tugging on your heartstrings, and if you've been wanting to get your health dialed in, I am telling you, the circadian alignment is the ultimate and foundational biohacking that you have been looking for. Details below.